Decision day in MLS. 3 playoff places remained in the East. 6 teams believed.
I believe we're taking care of what we can take care of.
We will fight until the very end.
We have a big mission on Sunday.
There it is! The Red Bulls are in the playoff places for now!
The mentality of this team is getting stronger and stronger.
Alaushu! Go! And Atlanta United are back!
We have the intention, have the desire, and he's going to get us over this hurdle.
DK wins it for Orlando!
To believe that we're gonna do it.
Kyoto roof of the net! An instant response from Montreal!
Two of the 6 teams went head-to-head. For Orlando, a draw would be good enough to reach the postseason. But for Montreal, only a win would do. Commentary from Stuart Robson and Dan Roebuck.
Montreal racing forward. It's a good-looking run as well, but Broguiar eventually halted. This is Chouanier, will take a touch. A little bit of space here for Mihailovic. Still Georgi Mihailovic. And eventually the shot does come in, and he must go in. No! How on earth? Well, it came to him very, very quickly. But Sanusi could not force it over the line. Should have done better. Chouanier towards Mihailovic, turns it on for Torres, and he will get through here! Terrific start by Galese. Montreal with another opportunity.
Poor defending by Mas, but a good save from the goalkeeper, spread himself really well. He can't believe they've missed that.
Pereira just touches it to Janssen, and the hit kisses the outside of the post.
Well, they just moved the ball to get it down the side of the wall, and that's why Janssen strikes it. It's a good strike. The wall breaks up. It actually goes underneath the wall and through it, and it just hits the outside of the post.
Broguiar. They're backing away and still going forward. Slips it through. Sanusi this time does not miss from close range. However, he can't believe it. The flag has gone up. How close was this?
And he's offside quite clearly by a good yard or so. It's a nice ball played in, but he made his run way too early.
Mas will launch in. Cleared away by Camacho. And then the curling effort is brilliantly struck by Jackson Mendes. What a hit that is! Unbelievable from the midfielder.
As soon as he struck this, he knew it was in. Good first touch, and he uses the inside of his foot. Bit of bend on it, lots of dip. That's a great finish from Mendes. There's the first touch, and then he just uses the inside of his right foot, and the goalkeeper had no chance whatsoever.
Camacho, decent looking ball in, must be it is! Kyoto far post offside.
Well, does he make his run a fraction too early? It's a good ball played into the box. We saw one in the first half where they had a goal disallowed when Sanusi made his run too early.
This is closer, very close.
It's tight. It's offside.
Kyoto. Broguiar was his intended target. Now there is a gap. DK knew that challenge was coming. The referee doesn't fall for it. DK goes again. Sliding challenge from Camacho. Oh, that's a straight red.
Yeah, that's a poor challenge. He jumped into it as well. He's late, and he goes with his stud showing, I think. In the end, the referee had no choice, did he?
This is DK breaking forward. It's still Daryl DK! Late Orlando magic from Daryl DK gives the Florida side a 2-goal lead.
The first touch is a good one. It just opens up the goal for him, and that's a good finish.
Wilfried Nancy's side bow out, They don't make the playoffs. Orlando do. Montreal 0, Orlando 2.
Montreal's defeat meant a DC United win at Toronto, coupled with a New York Red Bulls loss, would also send the Capital Club through. Cue the captain, Steve Birnbaum, igniting DC belief. TFC's season fell well short of expectations. Remember, it was only back in 2019 that they contested MLS Cup. Richie Laryea was part of that squad and the reason behind the host's 18th minute equaliser. But away from DC United's playoff hopes, there was a second thread of major interest to this game. Ola Kamara was in the running for the Golden Boot. So when he was clattered into by Quentin Westberg, there was no doubt about who was going to take the penalty. The cool Kamara with his 18th of the campaign. 9 minutes before half-time, he had another. Watch out for the Norwegians' cute flick to divert the ball in. That, at least temporarily, put Kamara top in the Golden Boot standings. And there was also a BMO Field farewell as the retiring Justin Morrow called time on an 8-year stint with Toronto. Meanwhile, DC were waiting on news from Nashville to see if this was where their season ended.
Part of DC's work was done. Now they needed Nashville to do them a favour at home to the New York Red Bulls. The Red Bulls began in the last of the playoff positions and knew a draw would see them through. So when Fabio put them in front after just 38 seconds, their place in the top 7 looked secure. Hani Mukhtar's free kick would change the mood. The equaliser meant New York were now 1 goal from potential elimination, and in the second half the thought appeared to cross their minds. With the defence frozen in horror, Mukhtar had the Red Bulls at his mercy. And when Alistair Johnson found another defence-splitting ball soon after, Gerhard Struber's side were holding their breath once again. The Red Bulls would eventually exhale and reach the playoffs for the 12th straight season, though the closing minutes would have been a little less tense had Omir Fernandez found the target. As it was, a sense of relief came to both. Nashville's unbeaten home record preserved, New York into the postseason once again.
Atlanta United's qualification was all but guaranteed. FC Cincinnati have known for a while that they'd finish bottom of the pile for a 3rd year in a row. So this was rather unexpected.
Cinco Bailey opens his MLS account and Cincinnati leads 1-0.
A final flourish after a malfunctioning season in Ohio. Atlanta's response, though initially slow, gathered second half pace. Miles Robinson ran out of room at the far post, but with 20 minutes to go and more of the goal to aim at, the defender honed his accuracy. A relief to the Five Stripes, and this was Robinson's very first goal in MLS. Someone who is far more accustomed to opponents' penalty areas, though, is Joseph Martinez, but this was high-end even by his standards.
Martinez, a world-class strike from Joseph Martinez.
The sort of finish that once made him the most feared forward in MLS, and that should bode rather well for Atlanta in the postseason.
Staying in Ohio, where the Columbus Crew knew at kickoff their season was unlikely to be extended, but Lucas Zellerayjan's delightful dribble and finish brought the memories from last year flooding back once more. A bittersweet moment for the outgoing MLS Cup champions, who soon realised results elsewhere were not coming to their aid. The second half thunderbolt from the Chicago Fire's Brian Gutierrez cut through the sense of dismay and roused the Crew to end the campaign on a more convincing note. Miguel Berry ran through to add a second goal, though he needed 2 attempts and a video review to prove he'd indeed doubled the advantage for Caleb Porter's side. The clearance from Miguel Angel Navarro fractionally too late, whereas the Crew's season was ending too early, despite 3 straight wins to finish. So when Darlington Nagbe made a late run and struck the post, the parallel was hard to ignore. Nearly, but not quite.
Two teams at Yankee Stadium who knew they were in the playoffs, just not who they'd play. But NYCFC's Gideon Zelalem might not even get his chance in the postseason after an early red card against Philadelphia. Yellow was the initial decision, but once the referee saw the evidence, there was no case for the defence. Zelalem dismissed on his first MLS start for the club. The Union initially made light work of the numerical advantage. Their leading scorer Kasper Shabilko nudged in the opener. But in terms of goals, NYCFC have the best striker in the league, and that's official. This was Tati Castellanos' 19th of the regular season, the same number as Ola Kamara, but with more assists to his name. He was later confirmed as 2021's Golden Boot winner.
Our final game in the East was a celebration at Gillette Stadium, where a record-breaking season for Bruce Arena's New England Revolution would be marked with the presentation of the Supporters' Shield. Not that Inter Miami were there simply to stand and applaud. Just before the hour, Blaise Matuidi found the target, the World Cup winner on the scoresheet for the first time this year. The Revs were dominating possession and seemed to have found an equaliser through Gustavo Bou, only for the offside flag to be raised. It meant New England would fail to score at home for only the second time this season. And though the mood remained joyful, Coach Arena may use the defeat as a valuable lesson.
Attention! Top seed and 3 playoff places are to play for. 2 teams will be eliminated. The Western Conference is about to commence.
Brian White cannot be stopped. It's a superb individual effort from Sao Paulo. Also, what a goal! Anderson Julio, Jagger! Listen, this is class. Cristian Arango, Chicho, yes. Back of the net! Wow! The Loons are still alive in the playoff chase.
Decision day in the West. Let the games begin.
Both the LA Galaxy and Minnesota United knew it was win and in. A draw would also be enough for Adrian Heath and the Loons. David Prutton and Phil Blacker were watching this one.
Reynoso, good awareness from him. Slip forward towards Unu. Can he find the finish? It's beautiful. Don't think it's going to count though. The flag is up.
It's extremely tight. It's not the most definitive cry for an offside, is it? It's more hopeful than anything else for the back line from the Galaxy.
Well, it's a huge call. It's a Minnesota goal.
He seemed to believe that he was in an onside position, that he timed his run to perfection. And since it's been given, he did exactly that, didn't he?
Corner kick for Minnesota. Reynoso, the main man to deliver. And to be scrambled in, Love trying to touch it in, and does. The Finn gets his foot to it first. And the Loons lead is doubled here. Big problems for the LA Galaxy.
They just completely switch off, LA Galaxy. Not one player in a white shirt knows where Robin Lod is. And by the end of it, it's too little, too late. Jonathan Bond does what he can to get out to try and narrow the angle, but it's a tap-in.
Dos Santos to Raveloson in the Galaxy midfield. And Raveloson's continued his run, gets it back from Chicharito. Raveloson finds Cabral. A little bit of space here. Just needs the finishing touch, and they're back in it. Leggett on the end of it, and that changes matters. Big Minnesota appeals for offside.
No real debate at all. You can see the Minnesota defence looking round, pleading, if you like, with the assistant referee, but out of nowhere, after doing nothing for 45 minutes, the Galaxy have got a lifeline.
With the Galaxy trailing, they were vulnerable, but only if Real Salt Lake could win at Sporting Kansas City. So had Rubio Rubin taken this early chance for RSL, there would have been a shockwave. For their part, SKC had top spot in the West to play for. They began in second place, behind Seattle. Daniel Shallowy came close for them, but at half-time, the drama in both games was yet to develop. We return to California for the second half.
This is better from the Galaxy. Good ball from Victor Vasquez to Julian Araujo, and there's the finish! 2-2, Chicharito! Well, the Galaxy daring to dream again on decision day. They're back from 2 behind.
We've seen him score goals all over the world, haven't we? Chicharito takes it in his stride, brushes it past Miller in the Minnesota goal.
Brenoso's done really well here, and he has options either side. This is Fragapane with Unu in front of him, who does reach it here and tries to flash it back across goal for the incredible own goal, the astonishing own goal of Araujo. Jonathan Bond can barely believe it, and Minnesota have regained the lead.
This is exactly what decision day is all about, isn't it? Unu just looking to put it back into a dangerous position, looking for Fragapane, but Araujo's the man that turns it beyond his own goalkeeper.
There is a real air of menace about the Galaxy in the final third, as there needs to be. Julian Araujo looking to undo the damage from his aberration at the other end. Returned into the middle, it reaches Chicharito, got his shot away, and again! And scores again! 3-3!
Again, it's a ball that's just put into an area. This is the big question that he was asking. Look, quite clearly demanding the referee point to the spot, but then taking just a split second later matters into his own hands.
Minnesota looking to settle the issue here, though, maybe secure their own spot. Fragapane's effort blocked by Williams, and the referee's given it. Well, it's another massive moment, another twist in the tale.
It's such a tough one, isn't it?
Fragapane takes his time and misses it, and the drama goes on. Bond wasn't required in the end.
It's an awful penalty. Look at that. I mean, what on earth is that?
With the tension escalating, we return to Kansas City, where the home side thought they too might get a penalty. Roger Espinosa adamant the ball had struck the hand of Real Salt Lake's Justin Glad. But the call didn't come, and in stoppage time, RSL pushed forward for the moment that would change everything on decision day. Damir Krylak's goal meant bad news for someone at Dignity Health Sports Park, where the game was not yet over.
Real Salt Lake are in the playoffs, and the Galaxy have to win or their season ends here. Sasha Klescher has picked the pass beautifully, and Miller makes the save to keep out Kevin Cabral. It went to the wire on decision day, but it's Minnesota United that booked their playoff place, and the LA Galaxy season ends here.
As you can imagine, it's pandemonium in there. There's a lot of beverages being thrown about and sprayed. A really interesting year, exciting year at times, and a lot of ups and downs. But what was never lost throughout the year was the belief that we can achieve something as a group.
A point was all the Vancouver Whitecaps required to be part of the postseason, but they needed to take it off their Cascadia rival Seattle. The Sounders began the day top of the West, and after Christian Dahome's handball, they appeared set to stay there. Former Whitecap Freddie Montero not afraid to celebrate his success from the penalty spot either. Brian White's bravery helped Vancouver level soon after, though. His layoff to score a Ryan Gold left him floored, but the hosts back on an even keel at BC Place. It was a derby that kept on serving up chances. Montero was denied by former teammate Maxime Crepeau, but the Colombian was proving to be busy in that particular penalty area regardless of who was attacking. It was his intervention on the line that stopped Vancouver going ahead. And then, deep into stoppage time, the Sounders were unable to grab a winner, which would have cost their rivals a playoff place. But that may have been cruel on Vanni Sartini. Vancouver's interim coach has transformed the Whitecaps in recent weeks, and their season, like Seattle's, goes on.
With SKC beaten and Seattle held, opportunity knocked for Colorado. And the Rapids set about grasping their chance, with Jonathan Lewis on target early against LAFC. Bob Bradley's men had been in the playoff picture, but with Vancouver and RSL getting the results they needed, it would prove an agonising day for both sides from LA. Never before had Colorado ended the regular season on such a high. Colin Warner made it 2-0 as the Rapids closed in on top spot in the West for the first time in club history. Outsiders at the start of the year, even at the start of the day, Colorado were hungry for the success so few had expected. Lewis made it 3 early in the second half. LAFC were obliged to keep pushing. Christian Arango pulled one back almost straight away, 3-1. But the Rapids weren't knocked out of their stride, and a homegrown talent added to the growing sense this was a special game.
Bassett! Cole Bassett with an absolute beauty!
Colorado's team spirit was outplaying a side with more obvious individual star quality, and Carlos Vela almost produced a spectacular response. And when the Mexicans set up Brian Rodriguez soon after, they did pull the scoreline back to 4-2. But by this time it was clear the day would belong to the home side, who hadn't scored 5 goals in a game all year, but would do so to mark one of their greatest achievements.
Baggi with a beauty! It's 5 alive for the Colorado Rapids!
With a home fixture in the postseason already secured, the Portland Timbers had a pressure-free decision day, but they set out with intent against Austin from the very start.
Paredes! Oh, it's wonderful from the Timbers!
Austin may have only picked up 9 wins in their debut season in MLS, but 2 of them came against Portland. No repeat here. The chest of Yaroslav Nizgoda pumping the Timbers into a 2-goal half-time lead. And straight after the break, the hosts struck again.
Now Nizgoda, he is in! Oh, he clips it to Blanco, who puts it in!
It's Minnesota United next for the Timbers in the playoffs.
In our final game, a fond farewell in a game devoid of meaning in the standings, but full of it for one of the league's greatest ever players. Chris Wondolowski scoring his 171st goal in MLS in front of the San Jose fans. The reason for his obvious emotion would soon become clear. But not before FC Dallas had played their way back into the game. The pace of Hader Obrian causing trouble for the Quakes' defence and earning his side a penalty kick. Ricardo Pepi's emergence has been the highlight of a disappointing Dallas season, but the teenager's campaign ended with failure from 12 yards. His Colombian teammate, though, would finish strongly with a run that showcased his speed and composure. His 9th goal of the season meant the game would end in a 1-1 draw. But Wondolowski's retirement, announced on the field after the final whistle, was the emotional high point at PayPal Park as the regular season came to a close.
So here are the final standings in the West. It was the 3 Cali and 3 Texan clubs that all failed to make the postseason, with RSL squeezing in, and Colorado finish as the conference's top seed.
In the East, confirmation that the final 3 playoff places were secured by Atlanta, Orlando and the New York Red Bulls. New England's total of 73 points is a new MLS regular season record.
The fixtures are set for round 1 of the playoffs. RSL's reward is a trip to Seattle, while Portland host Minnesota and SKC play Vancouver. Orlando go to Nashville, Atlanta at NYCFC, and there's a rematch of Philadelphia and the Red Bulls 2019 postseason classic that ended 4-3 to the Union.
But it's with the moments that mattered from a truly remarkable decision day in MLS that we leave you. Perfectly whetting the appetite for the postseason.
He's brilliantly struck by Jackson Mendes.
Minnesota United, they've booked their playoff place.
Damir Kreilach has just sent RSL to the playoffs.
This copyrighted broadcast of Major League Soccer may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Major League Soccer.